Good evening and welcome everyone. I see everyone coming on through, so thank you for tuning in. My name is Susanna and it's my honor to welcome you to today's seminar, Mission in Action, Women for the World. So thank you, it's a pleasure to have you all here. And you will have noticed that your cameras and your microphones are switched off for this Zoom webinar, and this is to ensure a good experience for everyone in today's session. Firstly, I begin today by acknowledging the Eora people, the traditional custodians of the land I am on today, and pay my respects to their elders past and present. I extend that respect to the First Nations, Australians, and Torres Strait Islander peoples today. At Caritas Australia, we acknowledge their continued deep spiritual attachment to this country, and we commit ourselves to the ongoing journey of reconciliation. So for 60 years, Caritas Australia has worked hand in hand with some of the most marginalised and remote communities around the world and within Australia. And Mission in Action is a seminar series to delve deeply into the programs and hear from those working closest to those communities that we support. And this is our 5th seminar, which is so exciting. And so thank you if you've been on this learning journey with me. Thank you for your kindness in contributing towards this change and for your commitment for joining us on this mission to alleviate poverty. Today, we have the opportunity to welcome 2 incredible women in development to our event. And these speakers are truly passionate for humanitarian efforts and working in those programs that you're supporting. So in a moment, we will get into it and we'll tackle this question, why are women's voices fundamental to development? Let's hear from our international partners about how women are vital to our communities and at large this global fight against poverty. One last thing from me, please do ask questions of our speakers. There's the chat function, so the round button with the speech bubble on it at the bottom of your screen, and just I have access to see that. As always, thank you for listening to my introductions, and I would like to hand over to my colleague Lana, who is Caritas Australia's Africa and Pacific Associate Director. Thank you, Lana.
Thanks, Susanna. Well, I'm very excited today about the topic. We will be exploring why women's voices are fundamental to development. So we know that though women make up half the population, they also experience higher rates of poverty, are more likely to experience gender-based violence, and have less educational opportunities than men. And importantly, know, and I've seen this firsthand through Caritas Australia's supported programs, that when women and girls are given the opportunity to lead and take action in their communities, it can lead to incredible life-changing results. And it's not only girls and women that benefit when they are empowered, but all of society does. Tonight, we are joined by Lucy Espila and Baloki Gohil, who are incredibly strong, courageous, and passionate leaders from 2 of Caritas Australia's partner organisations. And I cannot wait to hear from them about their reflections on this important topic. It is my pleasure to first introduce Lucy Espila, who is joining us from Togo. In 2023, Lucy was elected as the first female to be the Regional Secretary of Caritas Africa. Lucy has successfully implemented innovative approaches to enhance the work of Caritas Africa, which coordinates and supports a network of 46 national Caritas members spread across the continent. Lucy is particularly passionate about promoting local leadership through building strong institutions and promoting the leadership of women and youth. Earlier this year, I had the pleasure to spend time with Lucy, and I came away absolutely inspired by all that she is doing and by her incredible energy. Over to you, Lucy.
Thank you, Lana, and I'd like to start by thanking Caritas Australia for being our wonderful partner. We appreciate the work that we do together, specifically in promoting social justice through advocacy. And I'd like to start my intervention by recalling a quote from Pope Francis in his conference address, where there was this theme, on women are the builders of humanity. And the Pope says that all these women at different times and in different cultures, each in her own distinct way, give proof through the initiatives of charity, education, prayer, and how the feminist genius can uniquely reflect God's holiness in the midst of our world. So I will share my screen, and I need an indication that this can be seen.
Yep, that looks great.
Okay, thank you. So I will be discussing why women's voices are fundamental to development. And first, just to emphasize that this is also a priority area for Caritas Africa. And within our strategic plan, we emphasize that the voices of women, people with disabilities, and young people should be heard, and that they should actively participate in the mission and development of Caritas Africa and also development in general. And we believe that voice, decision-making, and leadership are key elements when it comes to women's empowerment. And when we give women the spaces to voice their preferences, demands, and interests, we are able to allow women to have access to decision-making positions, and they're able to influence public spaces and also private power. They're also able to influence how resources are allocated, and they are also able to exert influence in leadership roles. And women's voice, leadership, and decision making, it's manifests in different ways. At the household level, the role that women play within houses, at the community level, as they interact with other women, within the national level, and also individually or collective. So I will categorize my presentation in that level based on my experience having worked at the diocesan level and seeing the work that women did at the community level, and also at the national level, having gotten to engage with the national governments through different spaces that were available for civil society, and now in my role at the regional level. And so why are women's voices essential to development? There's an ongoing struggle to eradicate poverty, and it presents to us significant challenges, and different actors have different roles to play, but I believe that women have a vital role in this effort. And at the community level, women play a big role in shaping household dynamics. The family is an agent of socialization, and women spend a considerable amount of time with their children. And it is through this space that women are able to influence the views of children when it comes to insights on issues such as race, such as ethnicity, which is very crucial in the context of Africa, or tribalism, and also xenophobia, which is something that we are getting to witness in different African contexts because of migration. And they can shift this towards love for one another, loving your neighbor, and also peace building. And when we start with children, we're able to release children into the society who interact in social settings that can bring in positive dimensions to their relationships. Much as fathers have a role to play with their children, women also play a significant role within the family setting as an agent of socialization. And women can also play a big role in peace building. I was working in the Catholic Diocese of Maralal in northern Kenya, where it's really far from mainstream development, and the communities, they're pastoralists. And we collaborated with these communities to build village peace committees, because there were some tensions among them because of these issues to do with highway banditry, issues to do with the challenges that pastoralist communities face. And some of these village peace communities were women-led, and they were instrumental in managing resources such as water and pasture. You know, what happens when there's this tragedy of the commons, where a group of communities are sharing issues such as water, maybe within a dam, or scarce resources such as pasture, and conflict is bound to arise from there. And women depend on these particular resources to drive their household dynamics. And given the background that they had, they played a big role in these village peace committees, and also ensuring that we are managing shared resources well. And within these spaces, women also get the opportunity to dialogue about the challenges that they face within their household and seeing how to address these issues collectively. And in terms of women and agriculture, women play a big role in production, food production, in the food processing, and within the entire food supply chain. And as Caritas Africa, we work to promote agroecology, and even with the work that we do with Caritas Australia in the international space, is to promote agroecology and safer ways to produce food. And one of the ways that we do this is to engage different actors. And while at the community level, you can see women play a big role in taking in the education that they get from the different national Caritases, and they're able to adopt the use of organic fertilizers and pesticides, and also create innovations for recycling and efficiency. These are some of the things that we have witnessed when we do the field visits. And you see where women are together, they establish these village savings and loans associations. And in the context like Kenya, where this village and savings loans association, they were able to grow very much and led to the establishment of microfinance institutions. And this brings me to the issue of women in household governance. When women are able to access loans, they're able to plan within their families on how do we use this, what sort of investments should we go to. And it's a particular important dimension when you look at household dynamics in terms of planning and budgeting. And one important issue that I have really loved and have been seeing it being discussed for a number of for a period is this issue of paid and unpaid care work. The amount of time that women are playing in the amount of time that they allocate in reproductive versus productive roles. And I have this experience where we held household dialogues with several spouses, just for them to see how can we better balance the time so that a woman is able to look at reproductive roles such as taking care of their children, cooking, but also create more time in participating in entrepreneurship, or maybe going to the farm and to generate income for the household, which was very successful. So I wanted to dwell a little bit more of the community level, because this is where we shape and this is where Caritas is founded, because we have to work closely with the communities in order to make a difference. At the national level, we see that women can play a particular role in being represented within political spaces, whether it's at the subnational level, where I was just discussing, and also at the national level. And it's important for us to see that women get these seats, because what is happening at the community level has to be upscaled at the national level so that we can have meaningful change. And we consistently call for increased representation of women in decision-making spaces so that they are able to influence policies. A good example is if a woman is taking part in where people are holding discussions on legislation such as domestic violence and maybe one that is affecting women, they can be able to do advocacy on this particular and influence policy around that. It could also be violence that is affecting people of all ages, and they are able to shape this. And so policies that are being developed are responsive to the needs of individuals at all ages and addressing the diverse needs of different populations. And so I'd like to conclude by sharing my story, because this is where my life is right now. Working as a regional executive secretary of Caritas Africa, and I get to coordinate 46 national Caritases in spread across 46 African countries. And I also get to interact with different regional coordinators from the other 6 regions of Caritas Internationalis. And I began working for Caritas on September 10, 2012 at the Diocese of Marara, in this community that was quite remote and far from mainstream development. And I remember when people started talking about the grand bargain, shifting the power, I got the opportunity to attend a training on disaster management in Ethiopia. And because a group of people decided to support actors within the community level, I got this opportunity to interact with people from the international space, and it connected me to various international networks. And when I joined the National Caritas, it opened up even more opportunities, and I learned how to conduct international advocacy. And this further exposure prepared me for my role as policy officer in Caritas Africa, where I started in 2020. And it was interesting for me to learn about the context of Africa and organizing regional level events. And for 3 years, I worked as a policy officer. And in 2023, I got to be elected as the first female Secretary General in Africa. And during this time, I was really glad because for several years, I was the youth representative for Africa region on matters to do with youth and getting youth to get to be included in decision-making spaces. And Caritas provided that opportunity for me. And now I'm in my second year in this role as Regional Executive Secretary. And one of the things that I have really loved is participating in group coaching sessions alongside 12 women executives. In Caritas Africa, we have 12 women who are national directors. And through these engagements, I have come to learn that access to leadership positions is not enough. Women need an enabling environment to lead because sometimes they could face challenges within the kind of team that they lead. It will be coming from the governance level. It could be coming from the societal level based on the expectations. It could be coming generally from any quarter. And so they need this enabling environment to lead. And I've also come to learn how societal expectations can influence our unconscious bias and shape our views when we look at women in leadership. And I have also observed one thing that has really stood out for me. Women play a good role in household governance. And this particular dimension really shapes their leadership capabilities. And where women are involved, even if it's setting up events or doing simple tasks, you'll see decisions are often well thought out and meticulously implemented. And I have been also inspired by the many men in the Catholic Church, including those in the church hierarchy who support this agenda. While I acknowledge the significant progress that has been made and also the milestones achieved, especially within the ongoing synodal process, I am glad for the opportunities that Caritas has provided and also journeying with Caritas Australia on this. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Lucy. Really appreciated how you unpacked those challenges at the community, national and international levels, but also how you those practical and inspiring examples you gave of women taking leadership roles, including yourself, and the results that you've seen. So thanks so much. I'm now thrilled to introduce Valoki Gohil, who joins us from Fiji. So Valoki is the Program Manager at the Foundation for Rural Integrated Enterprises and Development, otherwise known as FRIEND in Fiji. Valoki is responsible for managing and coordinating the implementation of projects in the northern region of Fiji, which aims at addressing social issues and improving communities. Valoki is passionate about helping women find their voice and ensuring that they have an equitable opportunity to participate in and lead in their community. Valoki, we are looking forward to you sharing your wisdom with us today. Over to you.
Thank you, Lana. I take this opportunity, first of all, to give me a chance to speak at such an event. I will go ahead and share my screen. Is it all right?
That's perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So first I would like to talk about my organization. So it's a Foundation for Rural Integrated Enterprises and Development. We are a homegrown community development NGO, and the hallmark of Friends' work is the integrated approach it brings into community development, working with communities in rural and underserved regions of Fiji. We work with Western Division, Northern Division, and the Central Divisions of the country. This encompasses formal and non-formal settlements, and we ensure inclusion of marginalized members of the community. And through its integrated social, health, and economic interventions, FRIEND empowers communities through knowledge, skills, and resources to improve their lives and break out of poverty. With the support of donor partners and through some of its own funding, FRIEND engages with communities in governance programs, sustainable livelihoods, disaster preparedness, and healthy living, targeting women, youths, men in each community that we work in for sustainable development. So here we can see bit by bit. This picture was taken just in August, and it was taken on friend's 22nd birthday. And it shows how we're trying to achieve where Fiji enjoys sustainable livelihoods by linking resources to opportunities, and whereby communities take their ownership and responsibility for their own development. We can see all the women here are holding a little bit of products. So we launched 9 new products, including different types of root crop flour, such as vundi flour, kumala flour, and lemongrass infused oil. So all these products are the direct result of the economic empowerment programs, which entails skills building and business training in our communities. I would like to move on to a real life case study. We have worked with last year in year 1 of the project. Her name is Senimilia Levatu, and she is 39 years old from a village named Korotumbu. She lives with 7 other family members, and she is an active member of the women's group within the community, and she has also been a very active member of the community. So when we did our first set of training, food processing and value adding training, she could feel that she had an urge to do something because she was learning something new. She could discover how she could use the resources around her just within the village areas, and how she could make things by herself. In the picture, she's holding a container that is, the container is filled with the cassava flour that she has made by herself. And here she is in the background with her backyard garden. So for now, she makes homemade flours from root crops. She makes cooking oil from the coconuts that you can see coconut trees surrounding her houses. So cooking oil from the coconuts. She makes ylang ylang infused oil for her sales within the community and a little bit of out in the settlement. She has her flourishing backyard that whereby the project had provided the seeds to her family. So she's actively involved with her whole family to building her backyard garden with a variety of vegetables and herbs and spices and fruits. So what we get is that she manages to put in nutritious meals for her family all the time after the backyard garden efforts, and she's able to sell any surplus crops that she has produced. She's able to raise a little bit of income. So this really shows how an individual's empowerment helps her to take action within her family, improve her livelihood within her family, and create an impact in the community, because she is a very active member of the community. Other community members look up to her and replicate her efforts as well. Moving on, another story we'd like to go on to is a Loma Loma Women's Club. So in this picture was taken as part of our first organic farmer conference under this project. And we had a little food display competition. And the Loma Loma Women's Club were the first prize winners for the food displays. So they had made a variety of root crop flours, spices like turmeric, layalaya, dried chilies. They made snacks from the fruits, dried fruits. They had made cakes and puddings and scones from homemade flour. So they in turn won the competition. So the major thing behind is that how the women there turned their lives around after the project. So I would like to share a little bit about the village. So the village is situated at the end of Madhwata region. It is really situated right in between the two major towns on our island, and they don't have accessibility to transportation much. So, making sales of their crops or anything is very difficult because the bus timings are very long and it is really not feasible for them. And any kind of program outreach reaches them very late, or it reaches them hardly because of their location. Location is an issue, even though it lies right next to the main road. It is difficult for them to travel. We can see here in the picture, one of the ladies is with her backyard, and also we can see the amount of dried items they have put on display. So from all the trainings, we could see how they took interest, and they started making all their different types of flowers like breadfruit flour, then dalo flour, yam flour, via flour. They made turmeric and chilies and everything, infused oil as well. So as a women's group, what they're doing is drying this and they sell it within the community. And also they have a roadside stall where they're able to sell and earn an income for themselves. Also, since we have a variety of trainings under this program, we have seen how the women have taken up initiatives after attending the organic farm management training to switch to organic farming only. The women are now making organic pesticides such as the lemongrass solution and the papaya solution for the farmers. So the men go and take it out on their farms. So it all impacts sustainable agriculture and also sustainable living, because it all comes down to nutrition and food security. What I would say is that women are really integral to the development at every stage, like an individual stage and at a community level and also at a national level. So from the above two stories, we have seen how empowering women and upskilling them and providing them with few resources brings about big changes within the family, within the individual, and then at a community level. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Valoki. It was wonderful to hear from you to explaining Friends' impactful approach, as well as Sona Millie's and the Lamalomos, hopefully I've got that right, Lamalomos Women's Club.
Loma.
Fantastic. It was great. And as somebody who has who loves the Friends chutneys and products, I can only say if anyone is ever going to Fiji, please make sure to pick up some because they are delicious. So we've got a couple of questions in the chat, and I think you did mention this, Valoki, but maybe you could just sort of specifically answer the question we've got around the promotion of products. So the question is, how do the ladies promote their products? So you mentioned the organic farmers conference, for example. Are there other ways as well that?
Yes, they have. Since it was a whole year of project with them, so here in a Itoke, there is a Itoke carnival known as Yombula Day. It lasts for one whole week, where people actually display their talents, how they use their own resources and create different kind of products. So, like they also have put in handicrafts and mats and things that they have worked, because those are traditional things for Fiji. But also they were able to display these food processing products on those particular days, and we have continuously been able to talk to them. So they've gone ahead and because they won the prize, they went ahead and they bought a stove oven. So now they make puddings and scones with the oven, and they're able to sell that on the roadside. we're constantly in communication. We've even discussed how they could go to the boutique resorts in Savsavo. There's a town nearby. They are wonderfully great, and they're able to, they usually support local communities. So communications are going on with the community. If they could, go out, go to the resorts and see if they can market their products.
Fantastic. Thank you. Very, very many processes in place. That's great. Lucy, there was a question just around, I think you mentioned, which was wonderful, about the support of men that you have experienced that's helped you flourish in your role. I guess the question was really around, for those men who are a bit harder to convince about, having a younger woman being in this leadership role, how did you shift the dial? How did you bring them over?
Thank you. So the first thing we did is to have this discussion at governance level so that we have the executives of Caritas Africa supporting this particular agenda. And it is still work in progress. So in next month, we are going to be having a women leadership conference. And what we are calling it is transformational leadership. And the idea is to think about leadership in context, because leadership in Africa region will be different from what it looks like in Europe. And so we want to see what it looks like for women to lead. And also we are bringing together men into the conversation. So board members will be part of it and also part of the church hierarchy, so that we are able to see how we show up when we're interacting with women and how can we change this dynamic. And I will be happy to share more from what is coming out of that. But one of the things that I've come to learn is important is having women realizing that they are not alone. And because when you're in leadership, it can really get lonely, and it's good to interact with other leaders who are in this position, and you see how they are able to navigate these challenges. And you learn a lot from their experiences. Yeah.
Thanks, Lucy. I think, that's so important, isn't it? That creating the space to have real solidarity and realize solidarity. Valoki, there's another question also in the chat just around making flour must be very labour intensive. Can the women in Fiji get access to machines to assist them?
Yes, they do. We have distributed food processing kits. Like, it depends on what interest they have. Like, so for flour, basically just cutting up the root crops and drying them, and then you just need to give them the grinders, basic home appliance grinders. That's given out to them so they can blend for home use. And then we've given sealers and a little bit of storage containers. So maintaining hygiene items, things like that. So they have access to machines, yes.
Great, thank you. I might just stay with you for a second. I guess I'm just interested, so you provided a really powerful explanation around Friend and the approach that you used and the changes in the different community members and groups that you work with. I guess just interested to hear from you, maybe a personal reflection, if that's okay, about any challenges you personally may have faced being, a strong woman leader in the development and humanitarian sector, and how you've overcome.
Yeah, okay. So in terms of barriers, like we can see is that the traditional systems in villages, Itoki villages, they're very strict on hierarchical nature. Most of the decision-making powers, rights remain on top, like the chiefs and the village headmen. So it is an unseen thing. Like, you can feel it, but if we are there, we can notice it, but it won't be obvious. So that is something that we have had to overcome. We haven't had any major problems with those, but since we are all women team in our division, so we have had to navigate through nuances where how we communicate with the chiefs, how we involve. That's why we basically involve all the group leaders, like the youth leaders and the women's group leaders, the church pastors in every community as well. So we include them all the time. So easier conversations and open conversations for every particular decision that we need the community to make. We propose everything out in front, like during the trainings, so that there's no issue afterwards. Everything is open and approachable, and we keep in mind how we keep respect within the Itoki communities, because each community have their own set of ways we can go through. Like for year 2 now, we have Indian communities settlements, so the things will be very different in that context. So we work according to where we are.
Thanks, Valoki. Appreciate what you were saying about, I guess, respecting culture and traditions as well, but also that need for like transparency and openness and bringing people with you on the journey. It's wonderful. Just to remind, oh, great. So there's some, I was just going to remind people that there is definitely a chat option to be able to ask questions of these incredible women. So are the men in both countries or continents even, for Lucy, supportive of the women making more money and perhaps becoming more independent? So that's a great question. I think a lot of the programs that you're both involved with is really around women's economic empowerment. So are there, what's the response to men in those societies?
For us here in Fiji, we have had really approachable men, to be honest, in our first year. They're very accommodating because they have also been part of all our trainings. So it's not just the women, the men are attending, the women are attending, the elderly people are attending. So since everybody is attending, they're seeing what it is. They're getting involved with all the discussions. So basically, they're very supportive. What we found, they're supportive of what is being done. Yeah.
Great. Lucy, anything from your side of the world?
Yeah, I think the dynamics are changing, especially with the economy. Things are becoming expensive, and people confused with how do you say, two income providers within the family. Within the African context, it has been there's some contexts which are still traditional, where women still take on these traditional roles. But I think a lot of work has been done on women economic empowerment, and this is why we are starting to see the change that we see right now. Like for us to have 12 women national directors and also a significant number of women within senior management positions within the network. Like we have a forum where you can see there's an increased number of women in these leadership positions. And I think it works well because it adds more income into the family and people are able to grow. But within the community level, there's still a lot of work that is being done in terms of dialogue, especially where women still are making money or maybe accessing loans, but they still do not have decision-making power. And so there's still this work that needs to be done. But within this urban contexts, you can see changes happening. At the community level, there's still some household dialogues that need to be carried out. Yeah. What I've come to realize, it's not easy to have women making decisions, no matter where. I mean, you can be told, yes, here you are, you're on top. But when it comes to making a decision, people are like, are you sure you're the one who should do this? Let us do this for you. So it's something that is still work in progress. Yeah.
Thanks, Lucy. And appreciate all the work you do for that work in progress. So I think I just had another question just for both of you, actually, just around, and you've both given amazing examples of the factors or enablers to women's empowerment that you've seen. But I'd love to, if possible, maybe to hear from both of you, maybe the three top things that, like, in all of your experience, both professional and personal, that you think are those three magic bullets, so to speak, to help lead to genuine women's empowerment and increased leadership. So maybe
Okay,
Lucy,
for me, I will say, the first thing I will say is to do not give the mic to someone else. Speak out. And if you feel like something is not working out, it's good to speak out and be honest and be open. It can change things. And another thing that I have seen is good to build a community with solidarity where you sit down, listen, and learn. and you get to hear very good things because there are very many good things that happen which you can learn from, and also where there are challenges, you can also learn from that. So building self-confidence and addressing this, because sometimes you can be in leadership, but you also do not believe in yourself. And you must challenge those thoughts within your brain and tell yourself that you're confident. So this building the self-confidence and being able to speak up, building a community amongst yourself. And as a good Christian, a good Catholic, it's good to have a time to pray and have God at the center of it all. It makes a difference. Yeah.
Beautiful, Lucy. Thank you. Loki, do you have any reflections?
Yes, I would like to. So my top 3 things I would say is working at a grassroots level, going down to the ground is very important. That's where we begin our journey. So that's one thing for me. Another thing is making relationships with people wherever we work. It is very important to create that kind of trusting and building relationship where everybody trusts each other. And the thirdly is upskilling, but upskilling women, not with anything advanced, but upskilling with the basic things. Innovative, it can be innovative, but working with really basic level knowledge in terms of the communities we are in, that helps them a lot, I could see. So that's one thing. Yeah.
Sorry, thank you for that, and great reminder. The relationship is critical to everything, isn't it? So, hi, Susie.
Hi, I actually thought I might chime in with a question. And I was just thinking, as a woman myself who would love to pursue a career in international development, I found this seminar to be quite emotional and encouraging. And I think that's wonderful. And I know a lot of those in our audience today are supporters, and they follow all our emails and letters, and they get updated about our work, and they donate generously. And I was just wondering if our speakers had any particular message or anything like that they would like to pass along to those who are supporting and donating.
Thank you, Susanna. The other day when we had a meeting with the regional coordinators, and one thing I was telling them is the work that Caritas does in evangelization. I mean, people see what Caritas is doing and they have a change of heart and they understand how the church can contribute to development, and that people can sit down and support our work and they do not know who it's going to. It could be going to Togo, it could be going to Fiji, but it makes a difference in the lives of different people. And just like I said, for me, I started at the community level and I was able to get to this level because there are a number of people who supported the work that we did through the church in the Diocese of Mara. And so for me, it's just to say thank you and to ask that you continue supporting the work of Caritas Australia. They are a good partner, they listen and they engage us, and it's really wonderful to work with them. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Lucy. I really appreciate that. All right. And yeah, Valoki, thank you so much if you had something to share with our supporters.
Yeah, on behalf of Friend, actually, we are very grateful for the support that we've been getting from Caritas Australia and all the supporters of Caritas Australia, because without them, this would not really have been possible. It is really, I'm really grateful because the things that we are seeing, the changes we are seeing, any minor changes that we are seeing is just amazing how little things can go a long way into people's lives. So I'm very, very grateful. Thank you.
That's wonderful. I really appreciate those thoughts. And I think on that note, I would just love to close off. So thank you so much. Thank you for Lana for facilitating this conversation. Thank you to Lucy. Thank you, Valoki, for tuning in and for spending your time and effort in preparing for this. And thank you for everyone for asking questions and for listening in. We really admire our supporters for how passionate they are for these programs. And we really, really appreciate your commitment to come in and listen today. If you would like to further support, please do jump on our website and you can always see what we're up to and you can donate through there. And once this event does close off, there's a very short survey, just a couple of questions. We love to hear some feedback. If you have any final thoughts or questions for Lucy or Valokia or Lana or even myself in fundraising, I'll see those and I'll get to you. But thank you for tuning in and I hope everyone has a wonderful evening. Or if you're on the other side of the world, have a good day. Thank you and take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye, everyone.